Looks like we're live, y'all. So initially I wasn't gonna do a stream this week. It's really easy to not do it. Um, and I wanted to actually make a commitment to myself. The reason why I'd rather do it and not make an excuse. So that's what I'm doing today. Um, Again, I'm back. My name is Brian. My wife and I own a marketing company called What's the I Sell Words. We also host a podcast for business owners, um, nonprofits. It's called What's the Business with Brian and Brandy, where we make it our business to get into your business. We're always looking for guests to pop up on the show. Um, the background's a little bit different. I'm not in my studio this week. I'm working from my basement studio slash storage room until we can get our office situation, Brandy's office situation set up all the way. We have to store some office equipment down here. So normally I don't really operate down here. Um, this is normally my space to edit more complex video and things along those lines. Um, Today's episode, I wanted to get in here and um, I wanted to get in here and talk about price and positioning and the importance of how a lot of times business owners, specifically small business owners, um, we are our own biggest bottleneck in terms of doing business. I'm here to take marketing questions or concerns. I'll answer them on the air. If not, you could shoot them to my email or inbox. Um, I'll scroll the email at the bottom of the screen here. I'm still getting used to this setup. I haven't used the setup in a while, so kind of bear with me. But if you have marketing questions or concerns, I can answer them on here. Or if I need a little bit more time, I'll tell you I don't know, and we can answer them on the podcast. So, how business owners are their own biggest bottleneck. One of the things that I had to learn, and it was a hard lesson to learn as a business owner, was a lot of times I got in my own way. And what I mean by that is I got in my own way specifically by using the world as, viewing the world through the way that, my pocketbook, more or less. Setting my prices based on what I thought was expensive or what I thought was a reasonable amount. And you end up limiting yourself really bad when you do that, specifically for a starting out business owner. Undervaluing your price and undervaluing your service offering um, doesn't really do a heck of a whole lot for you to help grow your business. And it's something that we actually did. Undervalued my service, didn't charge enough out the gate, and a lot of times it was scrambling around because we had to take so many jobs or even take side jobs and whatnot because we weren't getting paid enough to do the work that we had signed up for because we undervalued the importance of our services. So when I say that, stop. I'm about to take these headphones off because this ain't working for me. Um, when I say stop valuing or stop evaluating the world through your pocketbook, as a business owner, when you set your price, the most important thing is what value are you bringing to to your client. That's the thing. That's the consideration that you need to be looking at. A lot of times we look at whether our service offerings are specifically good values or if they're meeting the market rate or whatever. And we're not really looking at the value in terms of save time, save energy, um, you know, comfort, utility that we're actually bringing to the clients. And so a lot of times what happens is we say, oh, well, I wouldn't pay this much for this service. So I can't in my heart charge this much for said service. And you really limit your own growth doing that. When I say stop evaluating the world through your pocketbook, your pockets are set up different than everybody else. And sometimes the people that you're doing business with have deeper pockets than you. So the time that you save them and the convenience you bring to their lives is much more valuable than what you're thinking. You know, you're actually doing the business. You're actually doing it, and it feels easy to you because it's something that you've done hundreds or thousands of times. So it doesn't feel as valuable as it does to them. You're doing something that they either can't do or are reluctant to do themselves. Specifically, when it comes to car maintenance, I hate working on my car. I know how to do it. I was actually raised to know different aspects of working on cars. My mom made sure to send me out with the handyman so I could kind of see how to repair things, and I learned stuff. I know I changed my own oil, I know I changed my own transmission fluid and stuff like that. I hate doing it, and I will pay somebody to do it for me because that's time I'd rather be doing something else. It's more valuable to pay somebody 80 to 100 bucks for that oil change than to actually do it myself. And a lot of times your business is set up that way. If you run a cleaning business, you know, it may be easy for you. Somebody may look at it like it saves me time and energy. I don't want to go out. I don't want to invest my time doing this. And it's easier just to hire somebody to do it for me. And I'm willing to pay more. I'm willing to pay up for somebody else to do it. It's the same reason why, and I spoke about it last week when I was reselling things on Amazon. It's the reason why you can mark up items on Amazon and sell them for more than you'll find in retail stores, because a lot of times um, people live in places where they don't have easy access to those items, and they'll pay for the luxury of having it delivered to their house. I live in Nebraska. There are plenty outside of Omaha and Lincoln, and the metropolitan kind of area. There are places where there isn't a major there isn't a major department store. There's not like a Target or something big. They'd have to actually travel a distance to go get it, and those selections are limited, so they'll go online and they'll be willing to pay for the luxury of having that thing shipped to their house. And so that's the business side of things. So as a business owner, you need to set your price in a manner that allows you to not only cover your time for the service, cover the materials for the service, but allows you to replace equipment, allows you to pay insurance, allows you to do for your transportation. You need to factor all these other items into your pricing considerations. And a lot of times we want to do stuff at cost because it makes sense to us to charge at cost for things, because that's how we view things. But a lot of times the stuff we pay for is marked up, 10, 20 times before we even touch it. That's the reality. You know, if you go to the take and bake pizza place, Papa Murphy's, that pizza don't really, yeah, it feels like you're getting a deal because the pizza is cheaper because you have to cook it yourself. But the reality is the price of those ingredients and all that other stuff, and even the labor that's associated with putting the pizza together for you to come pick up and take home, um, it's not the same cost as the pizza that they're passing on to you. That pizza may cost in terms of materials and stuff. And let's just throw out numbers. That pizza may cost them, $1, but they're charging you 12. Are they ripping you off? Well, they still got to pay for their staff. They got to pay for the building. If you're a franchise, I think it's franchise. If you're a franchise, you got to pay franchising fees. You got taxes. You got a lot. You got to pay your suppliers, the dough, all that other stuff. And you have to make sure that you extract that out of the cost of every single pizza that they sell. So the markup may seem huge, and it may be huge. But by the time it gets to us, we are so far removed from the process, we don't know exactly how far this thing is marked up. And so, from the business owner standpoint, specifically, if you're just charging what it costs to do the service, you're probably ripping yourself off and you're limiting your growth potential. We run a marketing company, And a lot of times with the marketing company, there's a lot of equipment that goes into it. We got computers. Um, hell, I had a phone that just died, and that set me back about a week in terms of production stuff. And I'm still getting some of my notes off the other phone. Um, but I have a computer that's kind of faulty that I can't rely on, but it's my main video editing computer, so I got to work around it. But I'm gonna have to replace that computer here really quickly. Um, I got camera equipment that needs to be replaced, microphones that go dead every once in a while. And so you accrue all these different things to do your business and do your job. And Papa Murphy's fire. What's up, Les? Um, you accrue all these different things to do your job and function in a minimal state with your gig. Um, but you have to still replace it, bro. Like, if I take my camera out on a shoot, I'm building the cost of basically renting that camera, renting my equipment, because I could be on the shoot and my camera dies. I have to pay for a backup. I have to be able to pull another one out my bag and just start shooting. But eventually I'm going to have to replace that camera because it's just equipment at the end of the day for me. And so that cost is folded in. The cost of getting me on location, the cost of gas, vehicle maintenance, all these different considerations go into what the pricing structure is. And so if your business isn't pricing the right way, you're going to come out of pocket for a lot of things. Now, the other side to the price versus positioning argument is this. And this is the real that I need to get into here. Your clients are evaluating your services not based on how well you do them a lot of times. It's a combination of factors. The ease it brings into their life, if they like working with you, and your price. Your price is a consideration. And believe it or not, you being the cheapest person in your space, for a lot of good clients, the ones that aren't constantly shopping you, the good clients will pay up for your services if they can afford it. And if they can't, then you have to make the decision of whether you're going to provide services to them or you're not. But the clients that won't shop you will pay up. And the reality is they evaluate the perceived quality of your services by how much you cost them, how much value they're willing to exchange for your services. And if you're the cheapest option, a lot of times they're not going to see that value. I got to be real with you. I mean, that's the honest truth. You know, it puts you on a specific tier if you are the cheapest person that they've called. You know, I know that, like city contracts and all other stuff kind of run on a different schedule where they're always looking for the cheapest person. And that's the reason why, specifically in Omaha, we have potholes that are bigger than your car because they constantly hire the lowest bidder for jobs. And hiring the lowest bidder brings in lowest bidder kind of quality. But a lot of times people will better deal you because they feel like they're getting more because they're paying more. It's a psychological thing. You know, you've been to like good steakhouses, right? And had a side dish where you're like, I could have got this at home. Well, it's probably true. You could have got that at home. They bought it from a food service company, sprinkled some parsley on top of it, and mixed it up, and then brought it out to your table. Now, they might have invested a lot of time in that steak, but the mashed potatoes, they come out the same box, come out the same bag as the ones that you get at home. They just put more butter on it. They use more of the things that taste good to really make it to make you believe that you're getting some higher quality, but a lot of times you aren't. For people that know how to barbecue and stuff and smoke meats, I do, and I spend a lot of time on briskets and things along those lines. It's not always worth my time to go to a barbecue restaurant when I can actually make a brisket here that my family. If there is some high level places where people are winning awards and all the other stuff, that's great. That's dope. And we'll go check them out. But It doesn't always make sense for me if I can reproduce a similar quality at my house to invest that money to go do it, you know? And I can drop, 70, $80 on a brisket and have brisket for days, brisket to freeze and all this other stuff, as opposed to going out and spending 20 some odd dollars and getting a couple slices. Now, if the slices are great, then that's a different story. If they do something I can't, that's a different story. But um, you know, a lot of times people ascribe that price and they ascribe a higher value to that price based on the fact that they paid more. You know, let's ask the question: are BMWs better cars than a Honda? Are they? Do the engines run better? Is the maintenance on BMWs is painful, bro. It's enough to make you not want to buy a car. But if you can afford a BMW, you bought it because you bought into the German engineering thing, and not knowing that that ship has sailed decades ago in terms of German engineering. The BMWs that we get over here, that ship has sailed. They're not specifically better cars, but people pay more money for them, so they assume that they're better vehicles. But from a maintenance and durability standpoint, man, them Hondas run forever, bro. Now, it's not as fancy to get a Honda. You don't get the bells and whistles and benefits of having the social benefits of having a BMW, so that's why people pay up for them. So we put value based on how much we pay for stuff. And when we pay for stuff, yes, we do have higher expectations, but we also um, lower our expectations, which is really kind of weird. When you pay more, you assume that I paid more for this thing, and so it's supposed to work better. Now, in some cases, you do get what you pay for. A lot of times when you're buying like things like that specialized equipment, like cameras, microphones, and things, you do get what you paid for. If you buy a cheap mic, you're gonna find out really quick that a lot of times, a lot of the inexpensive mics are inexpensive for a reason. If you've ever bought cheap, I don't want to say off-brand, but that's kind of what it is. Off-brand camera equipment, camcorders and whatnot on off of YouTube or off of Amazon, you get what you pay for. The components aren't as good. But like when it comes to things like smartphones, a lot of times they all use the same components. The Apple Foxconn factory, they make Androids too, and they use the same internals. It's a different operating system on it, but the internals are the same. And so sometimes you can find those comparative values in items that you buy. So there are differences and there are levels to this thing. But a lot of times we assume that things that we pay more for are higher quality. And there's no shaking it. It's a human thing. It's trading value for value. You spend more for a thing, you assume that this thing is better than the things that you would spend less on. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You spend more on jeans. Sometimes them jeans are better than the cheap ones. Sometimes they aren't. Sometimes they're just rebranded versions of the same cheap jeans. Sometimes you pay more for a car or truck. Sometimes it's a better quality vehicle. Other times it's just something that has another label slapped on it. That's just how it goes. You know, my car is a rebranded Fiat. It has a Dodge label on it, but it's a Fiat. Um, and so you do get what you pay for in some senses. From a business owner standpoint, you need to be charging as much as your customers are willing to pay. If you could double your prices and lose less than half your customers, why haven't you doubled your prices yet? I'm asking you. And it's something that you need to ask yourself. Yeah, maintenance on BMWs is trash, Les. I'm trying to tell people this. They don't really hear me on it. They're beautiful cars, but the maintenance on BMWs aren't worth the price. Now, again, I'm going to repeat it because it does bear repeating. If you could double your prices and lose less than half your customers, why haven't you doubled your prices yet? Now, if you have considerations about who can continue to afford it and things like that, and you're in a very comfortable space with your clients, that's great. But there's really no benefit in being second or third uh, least expensive option in your sector, in your niche. And we're going to do another episode that's about niching down, things like that, and why it's not as scary as people make it out to be. But the reality is there is no strategic option in being the second or third most inexpensive item. Either be the cheapest or be the most expensive. But don't try to split the difference. Um, People are going to value if you deliver a high quality product that meets all of their expectations. People won't blink, and your price, your service checks all the criteria that they have for a high quality, high value service. They won't blink at your prices. They won't. And if they do, either you can try to work something out and reach a compromise, or they may not be the client for you. Here's the reality of things. You don't want clients that are going to try to Groupon you to death. You don't want people that are going to bring in your competitors' prices all the time and force you to meet them. That's the shit that people do with like Walmart or something. You aren't Walmart. You're not Target. You're not Home Depot. You're not Lowe's, where you do price matching. You're not the local grocery store where, well, such and such is only charging me X amount, and now you're charging me Y amount. Well, then go to such and such and pay X amount. Why are you over here talking to me about this? The reason why they haven't gone to such and such is because they value your service. They value your input on it. If they don't, then if they feel like there's a better value over at this other place, then they'll go over to the other place and get that value. Here's the reality. You don't want to get caught into this proving your value all the time to clients that have one foot out the door. Because eventually they're gonna go. And the only thing they're gonna do in the meantime is get you to negotiate off your price point and get you to lower your prices. And then you are mad because you're working for less than what you would normally work. You're getting paid less for your hours specifically. And it's a really fast way to end up hating your business, and you're basically trapped in a job that you made that doesn't pay enough money. That's how it goes. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there. And the only thing I could do is raise my prices, throw the Hail Mary, raise my prices, and ask for more. Because I was on that rabbit hole, that treadmill of, am I going to give this thing up and go get a regular job because I'm not getting paid enough? I'm taking projects that I'm not happy with. I'm trying my best to deliver on it, but I don't have enough money to cover my time plus the advertising spend and all the other stuff that goes along with launching marketing campaigns. And I'm actually spending out of my own pocket to retain this client. And that's not how you do things, because then you don't have any time. You don't have any money, not time. You don't have any money to invest in your own marketing. So I was spending on other people's marketing and didn't have any money to spend on my own, and didn't have the time to spend on my own because I'm taking a bunch of low-level products or projects that weren't really what I wanted to be doing. And that's a fast way out of business. So make sure when you're pricing your services, you're accounting for your expenses, how much you need to take home, your insurance, your equipment, your transportation, your employees, how much you got to pay them. If you got to subcontract out stuff, how much you got to charge for your subcontractors. You're putting all of that into your pricing and passing it on to your clients. Because at the end of the day, they're still happy to pay for your services if they see the value in what you're providing, and they don't want to do it themselves, they can't do it themselves, or they've tried other people and you're the only one that meets their expectations. So don't be afraid to ask for more if you feel like you're not getting the value. And the reality is, and I know it's a delicate subject during inflation. It really is, because we have this inflation out here running rampant and stuff. And a lot of corporations are willy nilly raising their prices. And sometimes it doesn't really feel connected with any kind of reality. But you need to be ready if you're doing well enough where you're getting clients and you're able to keep the lights on with your job, and you're able, or with your business, and you're able to do some nice things for yourself. That's the point where you do need to be considering raising your prices. You can get really aggressive with it and raise your price with every new client that walks in the door if you want, to the point where clients are actually pushing back. One of the sales things that I've kind of incorporated in our business is actively trying to let people talk themselves out of doing business with us, so that they can overcome their own objections, so they don't have to worry about the price point when the price point gets presented. If you guys want me to do a video on specifically on that kind of stuff, leave a comment and let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. But more or less, you're basically trying to talk them out of doing business with you. And so they end up overcoming their own objection. They decide they want to do business with you. Now the price point is moot. Um, so that's the thing. Brandy and I talked about dealing with uncomfortable silences, and it's something I'm still learning how to do. Um, I'm learning from a sales standpoint on how to fall silent. I used to do it a lot of times when I was doing casework, and working with kids and families, dealing with uncomfortable silence of putting your price out or putting something out there and not saying anything and allowing them to draw their own conclusions. That's something I used to teach my staff on how to do, um, so that you're not filling air with your words and you're allowing them to kind of soak in what you say and then reply back. It's harder when there's money on the table. It's harder to state your value proposition and then fall silent when uh, they're considering it. And sometimes that silence may last. It may last minutes. It may last uh, days. But being able to put your price point out there, fall silent, and not negotiate against yourself. Um, that's a skill I'm still learning, but it's a very important, especially when it comes to setting a price point that makes sense for you. But stop selling things at cost. I'm begging you, please stop selling stuff at the cost of doing business, because it's a fast way out. It's a super fast way out. You know, you need to be passing all these costs, all the costs of operating your business. If you got licensing that you need to do, if you got extra education that you need to pay for, if you got specific training that you need to do and things like that, or subscriptions that you need. I know doing video and stuff, specifically with the podcast, I got to pay for um, Adobe in their suite of stuff. I'm trying out DaVinci, which is free-ish until I want to upgrade into the professional version. For my video editing, I pay for a service called Descript. I pay for StreamYard. All these things are vital in terms of our workflow here, and it allows us to do business. Um, I have to pay for those things. And so when we are looking at clients and stuff, we're making sure that we're covering the cost of those things. Now for our day ones, we are a lot more lenient with our day ones. You know, we don't, because they were there for us when we were getting off the ground, we're going to continue to be there for them. And so a lot of that passing the cost on is tempered back a little bit. But subsequent new clients and stuff, we really set our pricing to make sure that we're covering our expenses so that we can deliver the absolute best quality experience that they can possibly get, and there's no doubts, no questions, no gaps, no missed expectations or anything along those lines. And we're not perfect, but we're striving for perfection with each service that we provide. So that's the reality of things. But please, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, business owners out there, stop doing stuff at the cost of doing business. You are hurting yourself. You're limiting yourself. You are taking your business and you're stunning its growth. You are. And it's better to walk away from a client that's lowballing you and comfortably say no to them than it is to oh, did I go offline? One of them went offline. It's easier to um walk away from a client that's lowballing you, that refuses to move up to the price point, than to take their job and be miserable serving it. Good stuff. Uncomfortable silence. Yeah. Thanks for the comment, Timothy. I appreciate it, man. The reality is that uncomfortable silence is where fortunes are made. The first person to speak ends up losing the deal. And I've talked myself out of price points. I remember very clearly not too long ago, I talked myself out of a $5,000 deal and sold it for 500 bucks because I didn't know how to shut up. You know, and the service was worth a lot more, but I was looking, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to launch this new service. I'll take anything just so that I can dabble in it and kind of see what I need to know with it. And I was way too eager to take the job. I should have just, figured out what I should have asked for what the budget was first before I threw out a price point. You live and you learn, man. That's how it goes. But the uncomfortable silences are where those fortunes are made. The person that controls the interaction says less. The person that has the least to lose controls the relationship. So that's kind of how that part goes. Um, Making sure, because I'm trying to monitor myself on a couple of different fronts here. Um, Specifically, we're going live. Hopefully, the Facebook feed ain't die. um, but uh, that's what I have here. Again, if you have any questions about that stuff, I'm open to receive those questions. You can ask them through here in a comment. You can shoot me an email if it's something that I need to research a little bit. Uh, on I Sell Words, we interview business owners and people that run nonprofits and independent contractors and all kinds of a wide variety of people to figure out what's the thing that makes their businesses tick, figure out what's the business with their business. On days when we don't have guests, a lot of times we talk business and marketing stuff. And so as we move forward with this new season, you're going to start seeing more things about Brandy and I sitting down and discussing how we do our marketing and how we apply things and how we do product launches, um, how we market things like job fairs, how we all the way to how we put together podcasts and how we constructed the business around our business. And so you're going to hear about what we did and what we tried and things that didn't work for us. And so hopefully that adds some value and adds enough value that it's something that you're willing to share with other people, because that's what's important. And that's really the difference maker for us is it important enough? Is it vital enough? Is it valuable enough for for you to share with other people? So it looks like my internet connection is flaky. So bear with me, y'all. Yeah, I'm stuck. So hopefully this is broadcasting on other things. I might have to re-download and replay this one. But I've been dealing back and forth with the internet and computer issues for a minute. So hopefully this is not a thing. Wow, really? All right, we'll reset this. Yeah, that was kind of weird. I think my internet said that it had enough, or my computer said it had enough. So we'll be re-uploading. I'll be uploading probably this whole live stream. So hopefully it can hopefully you guys could see it in its entirety. We're always looking for content for our days where we don't have guests. That's very important to us. And we want to really get into a question and answer format where somebody asks a marketing question and we provide some answer, some semblance of a solution for you. Um, because for us that's where the real value is being able to answer your questions. And if we answer your questions, because I'll be transparent with you all, if we answer enough of your questions, your marketing questions, and maybe we could work out something where we take you on as a client and you decide to work with us. That's the ultimate goal, and we can exchange that value. But that's what the primary focus is, and that's why I want to shift to that question and answer format, so we're not the ones providing all the solutions and all the answers. So again, that's what it is. If you have questions, email us at mail@isellwords.net. That's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. um, Make sure that you share this with a business owner if you know somebody that could benefit from it, or somebody that um, needs to hear this, or somebody that's looking to get into being a business owner, so they can start out on the right foot and make sure that they're pricing their services accordingly. um, Last thing, a lot of times, especially when you're coming from working for somebody else to trying to do it on your own, you're going to completely undervalue how much you should be charging, because you're going to base it on what your salary is. Don't do that. They got you at a discount. Your employer got you at a discount relative to what your skills are. Come on. Your employer got you at a discount relative to what your skills are. And so a lot of times they're underselling, they're paying you less than what you should be charging for your own services. It's just how it goes. So once you step off of being somebody's employee, um, and you want to go and start your own thing, especially if it's in the same lane of what you've always been doing, charge more. Do not charge how much they paid you. Don't charge what your salary was, because they got you at a discount. I can almost promise you that's the case. They're paying you relatively less than what your value actually was to them in that role or position. So that's just something for the aspiring business owners out there. I'm finna get out of here in a few minutes. I got to go pick up my son from school. So before we get too far into it, if you got any questions or anything for me, comments, hit me up, leave a message, shoot me an email and whatnot. And especially if it's a question I can answer, I will try to answer it on the air. If not, if I can't answer it here, I'll try to answer it on the show, on the podcast. Again, eventually we're going to have our own questions email. I might even set that up today. We're probably going to be starting an independent group for What's the Business, for business owners or aspiring business owners, so that they can soak up some game from actual business owners, because there's no value in it if we're not able to share it with other people and change their lives the same way business ownership has changed ours. So, and you want to get good information. A lot of times, the people that offer you business information really don't have any skin in the game. They've never done it before. A lot of relationship experts who have nothing but a trail of failed relationships. So they have a lot of frameworks on what not to do, but they don't know what to do. And that's the reality of things. It seems a lot easier when you're not actually doing it and living the life on a day-to-day basis. But when it is your life, and you are doing the business thing, um, it's different. It's a different game. And so let me know, if you guys are interested. Hit me with a like or something if that's something you'd be interested in, and leave your name, or tag me, whatever, so that I can add you to the group. But I'm probably going to be starting a group that, or retrofitting a group I currently have into a business owners group. So be on the lookout for that. We got a new episode of What's the Business dropping with Unfettered Wealth. A different kind of wealth advisor. We've known Andrew for a couple of years, and he has a different perspective on building wealth, and it's really centered on getting started. you know yeah, he can handle the big huge money things, but he's in it to change lives and get people on the pathway to start securing their future. And so that's really what his emphasis and focus is. And so it was a good episode. There's a lot of jewels in there for business owners, specifically people that are changing fields and changing careers. So I really, really think that y'all should check that one out when it drops. And then we're going to be back in the lab here either this week or next, coming up with a new episode. We have a couple of people in the pipeline. They're going to really give us, that are looking like great guests coming up. And so we are going to be doing the pre-consultation meetings here, hopefully this week, so that we can get them on the show. Some nonprofits. We're always looking for other business owners. Business owners from underrepresented groups are great. Black folks, if you're a business owner, we'd like to hear, what your experience are. Latino folks, anybody who's from a group that doesn't traditionally represented in the business owner space, we want to hear from you. So that's what I got. Again, we're trying to take questions and answers because that's the way I can show value to you, and you guys get a chance to kind of see what our thinking is on business and marketing. We're always looking for guests. The email scrolling. I got to get to moving. So thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry about the internet connection. I'm gonna keep working on that this week, and hopefully I don't have to deal with that coming up. But anyway, that's all we got. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you are getting your value in terms of your price. Make sure that you are passing all those costs on to your clients and not coming out of your own pocket to service people, because that is a fast way out. I cannot stress that enough. That's a fast way out of business where you're paying out of your own pocket just to service clients. Don't do that to yourself. Factor all the costs of doing business and all the costs of your other living expenses and make sure that you put that into how much you're charging. If the clients value you and value your service, you won't run into any difficulties. The people that don't value or you are the ones that are always asking for a discount. So anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.